Today, we're going to talk about boundaries.
Boundaries. Setting boundaries is the essential first step towards reducing your stress and living the life that you deserve to live.
Mm-hmm.
The second essential step, though, is to honor those boundaries after you've set them. When you take the time to set personal boundaries, your confidence grows, relationships improve, decision making gets easier, life is calmer and more enjoyable, and you have significantly less stress.
Yeah.
We are going to walk you through an exercise that will help you identify and set your boundaries so you can take control over your life and begin to direct it wherever you want it to go.
Ooh, the you power. I love it too. This is Tara and Roxanne. We're here to help you calm your mind so you can enjoy your life. Also, we want to remind you we have a 3-step guide for 1 week to reduce your stress. It's located in the below. The link is down and below in the description. Download that and do it. Just do it for yourself. It's incredibly powerful. 3 simple steps. So, Roxanne, boundaries and stress.
Yes, and we're going to dive right in. We're going to ask you to take some massive action today.
Ooh.
Because we can talk about boundaries and be theoretical and then maybe even get a discussion how people have trampled on our boundaries, but that's not going to be productive. So today is all about being productive. So grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, pencil, whatever you got handy. I don't care if it's an eyeliner. We need to get this done. I want you to write down the most important areas of your life, leaving space after each one. So write down your health, relationships, your money,
time,
yeah, career, job,
absolutely
time for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then underneath each one of those, what do you need out of each? And if that's hard to come up with, because it might be, first identify what do you want from each. So you might want to take aside a minute. And I know we did a whole nother video and topic on this, but it's essential to identify where you're going, or you can't set up the boundaries in which you need to get there.
Sure.
It's like putting on the bumper rails when you go bowling.
The little map.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know where the ball needs to go, so you put the bumper rails to keep the ball going in that direction. So you got to know where you're going. So write down write down a little bit. I don't know how quick it would be for some
Take
areas.
the time you need, honestly.
Yes. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And write down what you want, what you need out of each areas, not just for survival, but for thriving. What you really want out of life in each area of those, in each one of those topics. Then set some boundaries. Boundaries that are musts. They're absolute non-negotiables. This has to happen. I have to feel heard, or whatever that looks like for you. What keeps you balanced is a great question. So for me, I'm a loud person. My family is very loud, but I need a calm home environment. So no yelling, no name calling. There's never any character assassinations. There's teasing and razzing and that kind of thing, but never malicious, loud fighting. I don't thrive in that environment. I choose not to be in it. So do you have any?
I'm an alone time person.
Alone, okay.
I really need a little bit of time that's just mine to.
Yeah.
I'm social, but boy, I need that alone time.
Recharge.
Yeah, that's right.
So that would definitely be a boundary. That's essential.
Absolutely.
Because you can't thrive when you're not congruent with that. So any certain foods, maybe entertainment, like if you have downloaded our guide, you probably saw my take on watching the news.
Darn news.
Or like true crime shows or something, get me all, that's not fun. I'm not being entertained. But I know a lot of people really find that stimulating. So you got to figure out what's good for you. And so it's kind of a fun process and a little challenging at times, but you got this. You can do this.
Sure do.
Write down those headings. Underneath, write what you want and what boundaries are going to get you there. Then when you're done, even if it takes you a day or so, but stick with it and finish it. Look at it and compare what your needs are compared to the way you're living currently, and see where the incongruencies are, because those are important, because now you're going to have to kind of shift those.
Kind of see where that little path's going.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it's not always fun to shift them, but it's important. And the first step, now that you've got your thing done, you can press pause on this and come back. You've got that list done. Now, catch yourself following those boundaries. You have to honor your own boundaries first. Other people aren't going to just magically, respect your time or space or what your likes or dislikes are or what you need around you to thrive. You need to do that. That is your job, because if you don't do it, no one will ever treat you better than you do. Well, there might be a parent or something.
Somebody, but you are in charge of how you're treated. Yes. And setting boundaries with how somebody treats you, I think sometimes you have to keep practicing.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Like parents, my parents, I adore my parents, but those are tough boundaries.
Yes.
There's a transition from being the parent to being almost your friend, and then things that they used to say and do may not be okay. Yeah. So a new boundary is established, and that you have to work out over time. It just doesn't always happen magically. Keep at it.
My experience is that's hardest when you're newly an adult. Maybe they're coming to your home for a holiday or for a visit, and they start to, you're like, I'm not comfortable with that. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm your dad. Like, are you kidding? Right. So, yeah, it can be done, though. But you aren't used to setting boundaries, and people around you aren't used to you setting them. No. So you really got to bring some patience and some grace. And what's a good way to put that?
Well, patience and grace are really important. Absolutely.
Those are good enough.
Key components.
It takes practice to perfect this. So give yourself some time and give them time. And remember, importantly, it's all important. I single this out, but your boundaries do not have to be enforced with any kind of aggression, anger. They don't have to be defensive. We kind of get in a pattern, some of us, and I'm not assuming that you do this, but I've seen it a lot, where we get pushed and then we yell.
Explode.
Then it's, you can't do this to me, and, and da-da-da-da-da, and they're like, whoa, it's always been okay, and all of a sudden.
Well, I've always said, like, to my kids, if somebody's pushing up, you say, ooh, gosh, gotta go. Not okay right now. I'll catch you later. And pretty soon they catch that boundary right there.
Absolutely.
Not going to do this.
For sure. And if it's someone close to you, have that conversation with them. Look, I've discovered this about myself, and this is what I really need, or this is what I don't need. And so this is what's going to be. And if it's been a long time and you're really like going the opposite of what is currently happening, which is kind of the point. That's why we're setting them. They might try to talk you out of it. There might be, because they're not, that's okay. Mm-hmm. That has nothing to do with you. You still have to set your boundaries and stick to them. They're entitled to their opinions. You don't have to defend and make a big thing. It doesn't have to be a thing. Right. And if it's a thing, set it down. Like she said, walk away, come back. Try to have another conversation later time. Or just simply say, no, I'm not going to do that, but thank you. Mm-hmm. I decline your offer.
Right.
Something like that. So just be patient. Allow yourself and everyone else a little grace. Mm-hmm. And keep in mind that everyone is a mirror. So if you're finding that people really aren't treating you very well, come back to this boundary list, because they're probably, not probably, I'm going to stop being wishy-washy.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. They're just reflecting back to you the way that you're treating yourself.
What you're putting out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so if you are allowing people to step all over your boundaries, they're going to do it, right? Because you train people how to treat you. And so come back to those boundaries, and eventually they'll become a habit for you and a regular commonplace thing, as well as for everyone else. So this is a worthy exercise. It's not an overnight fix, but man,
it'll actually, over time, that stress will just come down tremendously.
It's a game changer.
Sure.
It's a game changer, especially since you're going to hit every different area of your life. You're not just honing in on one person or one particular thing. So one quick tip about other people's boundaries. So now that you've set yours, or you're going to, today we're going to get started, right?
Right.
Right. It's time, take a minute and think about other people's boundaries.
Absolutely.
That is harder. Now, people might not always articulate their boundaries to you. Maybe they're not great communicators. Maybe they don't know how to express what they need, but they do have their own boundaries, and everyone does. They might not have them organized, but they have them. And it's important to honor those boundaries, not take it personally. If they're
Yep.
saying no to you, they might just be saying yes to themselves. It doesn't mean that they're rejecting you. They just need something in that moment.
Mhm.
And it's important not to trivialize somebody else's boundaries. Just because they're different than yours doesn't make them any less viable, significant, and important. So when you really care about somebody, make sure that you go, okay, well, this particular thing didn't look like a big deal to me, or it didn't seem like, but I respect the fact and I honor the fact that you feel a certain way about it, or that you need something in a certain way, or not done in a certain way, and so I will let that be. I don't have to understand it. I just need to respect and honor it because I love you
Yeah.
and respect and honor you.
Absolutely.
And that's a muscle too.
Mhm.
That
That is.
that takes some
exercise.
practice. That takes some practice to perfect. So if you walk away from an interaction and you're like, I feel a little guilty, I probably said some things I shouldn't, give yourself a second, make it right, and then let it go and try not to do it again. But don't waste time on guilt and weirdness. Just, pointless.
Pulls you down.
Yes. So when you take the time to thoroughly set your own personal boundaries and honor those boundaries, I promise you, your life is going to become more congruent, calmer, your relationships are better, the mental noise is quieter. I know, that's my
That's a
favorite.
good one.
And the stress is reduced because you're taking control over the only thing that you can, the only thing that really matters, you. That's it. You're the only one you have any control over. And when you exercise that control and see and feel the power that comes with that, it's immeasurable. I mean, that's everything right there as far as I'm
That
concerned.
is.
Yeah.
Those relationships will get calmer and much more
Oh,
enjoyable. Truly respecting one another and each other's boundaries. It'll be a beautiful thing.
1000%. So to recap, what you're going to do, if you're not doing it right now, if you didn't already push pause and you're coming back, you're going to start today, grab a piece of paper, give yourself time to sit in a calm place and do the steps outlined above. Write down what you need in each category of your life: health, relationships, money, time, career, all of the good ones. There's probably another one.
There
If you
is.
have another one, you list it. You leave space underneath. It doesn't have to be those. They're just examples. And write down what you really want out of each one of those, and then set some personal boundaries that's going to help you thrive in each of those areas and reach the goals that you deserve to reach.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks very much for being here today. Again, we want to remind you about the 3-step guide for the 1 week to reduce your stress. It's down below. The link is there in the description. And we want to thank you for joining us. We're here to help you calm your mind so you can enjoy your life.
I love it when she says that. Bye.
Bye-bye.